Welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast, episode 12. My name is John Bunn, and today I am joined by Nick Miller for the How to Film Weddings podcast. Our goal is to help connect wedding videographers with others that can help them grow their business, get better at shooting weddings, and improve the wedding industry. What's up, Nick?
Dude, I am doing so good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. It's like, that editing season. Got 3 left till I'm all the way caught up, just pounding through.
Yeah, we have one wedding left in 2018. This upcoming weekend. Ready for a break.
Yes. We have that one as well. I'm talking edits. I got 3 left, 3 or 4 left.
Oh man,
So,
I got a backlog. I don't want to talk about it.
Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something else today, though. Today, we're going to be chatting about how we communicate with our couples after they book with us. How often do we get in touch with them? Do we text them? Do we email? Instagram DM, maybe? What's the best thing for you and your business? There's been some talk about things in the forums lately, and I just wanted to talk about that today. So to clarify, we're talking about our communication process after we book a couple. With those posts that I've been seeing on Facebook and everything, it really just got me thinking what I do and how I communicate, and then Nick and I started talking about it. So I just wanted to maybe chat with you, Nick, today about what that looks like for you. Yeah. So let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. So, you kind of touched on it, but where we're seeing this is in a lot of the Facebook groups. We see a lot of people complaining that they're getting emails from their couples, emails from their brides, and they're saying, "Hey, where's my video? Hey, where's my video? When's it going to be here?" And it's like these videographers are very annoyed that the couples are asking them because, well, it's outlined in the contract.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for most of you out there. No one reads the contract. The only people that read the contract are people that are lawyers, basically. I've had a couple, of my clients that just deal with contracts and stuff all the time. So they are very particular about what it said. But most people just sign it and they want to know what happens if they cancel or if I cancel on them for whatever reason. Like, that's kind of it.
And
right?
One of the things too, so you have these contracts, and yes, it does lay this out, but like the point of our job, we are in the service industry. So, what better way to serve your couple by just keeping them in the loop? And so not only communicating to them like after the wedding, but beforehand of how it's going to work, how it's going to go down, all that stuff really will help avoid some of this frustration. So I'm excited to chat about that today.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, couples don't read their contracts, really. And so if it says 5 months in your contract, you probably need to have some more communication going on with them rather than just relying on that contract, which is something that they probably signed, 6 to 8 months to a year beforehand, before you even film their wedding. Right.
So it's been a minute. So,
yeah.
And that's one of those things that, like, I think that a lot of times we're in our world all the time as wedding videographers, and we're like thinking about wedding videography every day. And we think that our couples know as much as we know. And it never hurts to just over communicate, especially when it comes to what they're getting in their package, when their film will be ready, all the things that you really want to make sure that they know that are, they're maybe even asking you. If they have to ask you, you're probably behind the 8 ball when it comes to like the communication. So Nick, let's just say you've booked a bride and groom, like you booked them yesterday. I want to jump in and just talk about like, what does your initial timeline look for communicating with the couple? Like, what does that look like for you?
So what we do after a couple books with us, so we send them, part of our contract includes their email address. Their mailing address. It's part of the contract. And the reason that we do this is we found this website. It's called greetable.com, and that's greetabl.com. So what we do is we get their address, and Greetable, you can send people these little gift boxes. And so we found some like champagne candy gummies that are right now, and I hope this isn't just a Christmas time thing, but they have just released, like, you can send Starbucks gift cards or Target gift cards or something like that in these little boxes, and then you type out this little message and you can make it personal. Like, so it's not just like a stock form thing that you send all of your clients, like it's actually personal. And so my wife, the very first thing after they book is she gets their address and she sends it to them. Now it's about, depending on what you put in the box, somewhere between $20 and $30 to send this little paper box. But it's been such a positive boost to like working with our clients that they just get this little thing in the mail that they weren't expecting.
Dude, I'm a little bit upset at you. I've never even heard of this until right now. We usually send them something, but not a greetable. Like, I mean, come on. I just clicked over to the website. This thing is legit. We need some affiliate money from this.
Yeah, for sure.
Before this post goes up, we better have a greetable.com/howtofilmweddings. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll look into that. But so we send them this little thing, and then it's just, I mean, it's gummy bears basically with a personal note, and they're like, we have the best videographers, these guys are so awesome, we're so excited to work with them. But it's just kind of an introduction, and to also give them an expectation of who we are and saying, hey, we care about you, we like you, we want to spend your wedding day with you, and we want to serve you. So we send them this. The other thing we ask them is for their Instagram handles, because most of the people in the world that we work in, Instagram is a bigger deal than Facebook. And so we're trying to follow them on Instagram. And probably for that, maybe we have a 4-month email that we send out, which I'll get into in a little bit. But from that time that they book until that 4-month email, we're trying to comment on Instagram posts. We're trying to reply to stories. We're just trying to touch base with them and get to know them and let them know that we see what's going on with their life.
Yeah, just building the relationship. I mean, and that's part of it too, is like a lot of people kind of don't know where to blur the lines of like what's business and what's, friends. But like, you're their wedding filmmaker, and the brides that I want to work with want to be friendly. They don't, want to treat me like I'm one of their vendors. They don't want me to sit in another room for dinner. They have my name, as on the guest list, and that's the goal. I mean, for me, if I get good food, that's my main goal. But yeah, I mean, that's the main thing for me, is like getting in touch with them, figuring out how to like stay, in touch with them throughout the next year or however long that is. So, on my side of things, from booking them till, let's say, 6 months before their wedding, besides what you do, I mean, I just added greetable.com to what I do. So that was my idea, not your idea. We have a separate cell phone line, through AT&T or whatever, and I think it's $15 more a month. I know some people use Google Voice and different things like that, but during the meeting with them or during our initial, booking, I will show them that phone and say, here's a cell phone that we leave at our office. Either I'm going to be on it or Nina, the photographer, will have it. If you ever have a question about anything, please text us. Call us. It doesn't bother us. It's the Redeemed Productions hotline pretty much. So if you have a question about a vendor, if you have a question about your timeline, please text us. Don't feel, I tell them that's what we look forward to in the middle of our editing, is like hearing from you. So it's never going to bother us. Make sure you text us. And that does a couple things. It makes them look at us as like their friend, that we're on their team, that we're looking out for them, but it also opens up the communication for texting. And so I like to treat that, I don't want to be texting from my personal phone, because I don't want them to text me at 9:00 at night and me get it and feel like I have to be working. But if I have a separate phone line, which is the business line, I can text those couples, and it kind of keeps everything in one spot from the text messages. So that's the first thing we do. And then also, depending on, how you do your business, like the whole Facebook, Instagram thing too, our company finds them. I never really ask them for their IG, or I guess I should, but I usually just find them real quick. And so follow them and say, hey, I'm going to follow you today. And hey, I'll friend request them on Facebook too. So those are the first things that I do.
Yeah. I guess I found, because there's just some people that it's kind of hard to find their accounts on Instagram. So we just started asking them, and then, kind of letting them know that we'd like to be in contact. We'd like to touch base with them, because with the currently, the 22 to 28-year-old people that we're working with, email, basically for them, it's a junk mail thing. Like that's probably all that they get. Everyone has one, but it's mostly junk mail. So they probably don't pay attention to it very much.
And if you think about like your email, like for me, when I get an email, I pretty much look at it as a task at this point. And all of my unread emails are things that I need to get back to when I have time. But with text messages, if I get a text message from you, Nick, like I want to respond pretty quickly. I don't want to forget to respond. It's more of a quick interaction instead of like this official interaction. Not to mention what you're saying about the emails. We have automated emails that go out with different things, of course, but like when it comes to being in touch with them, and to each their own. I don't think email is dead or anything, but I just want the relationship that they have with me to feel more personal than that. And I don't ever hide anything from them. I say, this is not my cell phone number. I don't want to answer, phone calls at night when I'm with my family. But if you text me, if you have a question at night, I'll get back to you the next morning. No big deal. And so it's just one of these things where I'm training them from the very beginning that it's like, hey, we're friends. I'm here to take care of you. I'm going to be on your team now, and I'm not going to bug you with things that don't matter. So, the email side of things to me feels like, I've got an email I got to get back to later today when I'm off work or something like that. And so the text message to me feels like a friend. The email feels like a vendor.
Yeah. I'm totally with you. And I know that there's a lot of people that don't feel comfortable with, text messaging or Facebook message or Instagram
Sure.
DMs or any of that kind of stuff. And I totally get that. This is totally a personal thing. But I have found since we have started to get a little bit more personal in sending, communicating a lot through text messages. Like I know we're talking about after we book the brides, but I've had a lot more success actually getting meetings with brides and couples. Whenever they inquire, I email them back directly. And then as soon as I send the email, I also send them a text message because I
100%.
asked for their phone number. And my meetings and stuff have skyrocketed because now I'm following up with a text message, right, as well as email. And then we have automated emails, that go out in that as well. And I just found that it helps with communication. It works a lot better for me to text. You don't want to do it, that's fine. That's just what works for me.
Yeah, I think you have to also get out of your own mind, like what bugs you or not. It would bug me to get text messages from people. Like, I get that. But if I'm a bride who's 24 years old to 28 years old, if I'm a 24 to 28-year-old female right now, text message is which I'm not. I'm a 34-year-old grown man. Nick is laughing. But like, if I were that, I put my mind where theirs is and I say, do they want a phone call? No. Like, who's answering their phone calls? Like, they're not going to answer it. But if they get an email followed by a text message, hey, I just sent you a text, like that is a way to get those meetings like you're talking about. So yeah, moving on. So after like the 6 month out kind of, we're getting closer to the wedding day, Nick. What does your communication start to look like as you get a little closer to the day? I know we've talked about like the 6 month checkup, different things like that. What does it look like for you?
So I know you're a little bit different in how you book your couples and how you communicate with them and stuff. But what we do after the couple has been booked, we have an automated email that goes out about 4 months before the wedding. And a few things that I, put in there, I talk to them about the importance of a getting ready location. A lot of people, I don't know if they think about it now. I'm getting into more higher end weddings. So typically people, get ready somewhere like a hotel or their house or some place that has nice light. But I let them know nice window light is really important. And so just to kind of put that little bird in their ear. And then I talk about audio and I ask them questions. Are you interested in writing letters? Are you interested in doing an interview? Are you interested in, those kind of thoughts, just so that it can kind of be in their mind. And so that's kind of where I go from there. We also have before the 4 month, about 8 months out. And then I think again at 6 months out, I just have an automatic email that says, hey, we're really excited about your wedding day. I just want to check in. Do you have any questions? Do you need anything? Do you need any vendor recommendations? Just real general. But then that also, builds some rapport with us as we are saying, hey, we're here to help. So those are a couple of things that we do, in the 8 to 4 month range before the wedding.
And that's what I was going to jump in and just say is that like what you're doing by reaching out to them and talking about like finding good light in a getting ready location or Are you going to read letters? It gets them thinking about things that not are only going to help you on the wedding day, but it does build the rapport. And that's the thing that you want, is you want to really make sure that they are seeing that you're a trusted friend as opposed to a wedding vendor.
Another thing that I include in that 4-month email, I found this video from this company, Long Haul Films. I think they're at the West Coast somewhere, and they actually ran do you remember the blog love24fps.com? It was a wedding blog and it was a feature blog. Anyways, Long Haul Films, they created this video on how to give a good wedding toast. And so I would include that link to that video in that email and say, hey, if you know someone that's talking, share this video with them. Because, it's stuff like memorize your toast. Don't go up there and just wing it, because it always sounds bad when you wing it. Speak from your heart. Just good advice, but from people that have seen a lot of toasts, and we've seen a lot of toasts, and we've seen way more bad toasts than we have good toasts.
Wait a second. You've seen bad toasts?
I know. So just giving these people, because people don't give up and give a toast, give up and give a speech very often. So it just kind of prepares those people to help them succeed and do better. So that's included in that 4-month email as well.
Perfect. So on our end, just so to communicate what we do, so 6 months out, we do just a phone call with the bride, basically. And since we do book a la carte, usually we've booked like the day, but we haven't set like a package. And so at that point is when we walk through kind of like an initial 6-month out phone call with just the bride to kind of set a preliminary like package for the day. Oh, when your ceremony is now, cool. I would recommend, if you're doing a first look, we need to do it at this time because the sun sets at this time. All I'm doing is building that rapport again with them and really looking out for them and like what's going to give them the best thing, best coverage for their wedding and the best film. And what that does, not only does it help them, it's going to end up helping me. So that 6-month out phone call is usually just with the bride. I ask them if they have any questions. Do they need any vendor referrals? Because I want to work with, vendors that I know are going to be trustworthy. So they usually are saying at that point, who do you recommend for hair and makeup? Who do you recommend as a band or a DJ or like I booked this florist, I booked this photographer. And so I can just start to make those notes and keep them in their file. And that's about 6 months out. There's not a ton of communication with me, maybe just like an auto email here or there between 6 months and 3 months. But that 3-month checkup, and we have the video on our YouTube channel, but the 3-month checkup for me is like the Super Bowl when it comes to their wedding. Like I am making sure that they know somewhere 2 or 3 months out, basically. It doesn't have to be like 3 months to the day out, but like somewhere in that range, I'm meeting with the bride's mom or dad, like whoever's paying for it, and the wedding planner, all in one location that's usually like at a coffee shop or something like that, a smoothie shop, something where we're all together. And that's whenever we're having a face-to-face conversation with all the decision makers 3 months before the wedding, which gives me time to really communicate what's in their package, what all they're getting, and maybe offer some things that they might not, think about yet. So if you want to hear more about the 3-month checkup, that's an entirely different thing. We have a YouTube video that we'll link below, but that's kind of all the way to 3 months up, Nick. What about you? I mean, I know you talked about 4 months.
Yeah, so we send that email about 4 months out, and from there, the next real big email I have, it goes out about a month beforehand. We use Honeybook, and so that does all of our email automation. That's where everyone pays and everything. I really absolutely love it. It's been a great resource for us. And then with that 1 month email out, we have a questionnaire. It's a pretty detailed questionnaire about the wedding day where I can get a list of all the vendors. I can get a list of times and addresses. And then I kind of ask them, kind of their thoughts on what's important to them. What do they want filmed? What are the 3 things that matter most to them on the wedding day be captured?
That's a good one.
It's interesting, because some people are like, oh, this is our wedding day. This is all about us. And then other people are like, we have this big party and our family's there. And so I want you to get all of our guests and I want you to get my family. Like, that's most important to me. So it's a really good indicator, sending this questionnaire, and then we get their mailing address again, and personal information, kind of that stuff, just so we have it close to the wedding day. And then with that, I set up I do most of pretty much 100% of my meetings via FaceTime or Skype or Google Hangout, whatever's convenient for the couple. And so a month before the wedding, I set up a time where we can meet and just talk, make sure we just go over everything, go over the timeline, make sure we're on the same page with everything. And then, and that happens anywhere from literally a month beforehand to, I've had some that have, we've had our talk on the Thursday before their wedding on Saturday. It's just kind of what works best for them. And then I usually send out a text on the day before the wedding and just saying, hey, super excited about your wedding. Just want to confirm that we'll be there tomorrow at 11 a.m. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's
happy
huge.
wedding. Something like that, just to confirm with them so that they know and they are reminded, so that they're not asking a question like, hey, when are you showing up? Or they don't remember or whatever. So that's kind of our 1 month to the wedding day plan that we have to shoot the wedding.
And again, they have a lot on their mind. They're not just thinking about video like you. They're dealing with their photographer. They're dealing with their caterer. They have, the RSVPs coming in last minute. You've got to put yourself in their shoes to where you want to just make sure they know the good stuff, the stuff that's important.
And I want to say with that, they have so much on their mind. And if you have done a good job, communicating with them beforehand and building this relationship before them, joking with them on Instagram or text or whatever, building this relationship, they probably aren't thinking about your video because you have already showed them how reliable and how good you are. So that's it. It should be one of the last things on their mind is them freaking out about the video, because if you've communicated with them enough, they'll be like, oh, this team, this business knows what they're doing and they've done it before. So I don't even think about them. Tell me when you want to show up. Okay, cool. Be there then, and we're good.
Right. And, that in itself, just being somebody that is more of a breath of fresh air as opposed to a stress, you're going to cause them stress if they can't remember what's in their package, or they can't remember what time you're going to be there, or do they need to wear a microphone, or when do they need to have their hair ready. So that is huge. And for us, after our 3-month checkup, we are involved still with them, but we basically, we still have our RP Redeem Productions hotline cell phone available for them. We send them their questionnaire for our final consultation, and it does the same thing. It asks, a couple of the things that you didn't mention that maybe, it just says, are there any awkward relationships? Are there any deaths or divorces in the family? Are there any special things or traditions that we wouldn't know about that you want us to film? Just asking some of those questions, so when we do get together for our final meeting, whether that's like you do online or like we do in person, that we can walk through those things then, instead of asking them if they're going to do a first look with their dad, but their dad passed away 7 years ago or something like that. So that questionnaire goes out, I think, 2 weeks before the wedding, or 3 weeks before the wedding. And then we try to meet with them in person with the groom at this point, if we haven't met already, within 2 weeks to 10 days, before the wedding. We try not to do it too close to the wedding, but we want to be fresh on their mind right before the wedding. Yeah.
And another thing that have you ever walked into a wedding, maybe this was a while ago, and you met with this couple, 8 months, a year beforehand, and you've kind of only been doing communication through email. Mm-hmm. And then you show up on the wedding day and you're like, what does the bride look like?
What is the bride?
Groom? Right, exactly. And so that's one of the reasons why I really like, instead of a phone call, doing a Skype or FaceTime or meeting with them in person, if that's really what they prefer, so that when I show up on the wedding day, I remember what they look like and I can go up to the right person.
You might be a terrible videographer if you don't know what your couple looks like on the wedding day. If you have to ask who the bride is. It's kind of like you might be a redneck here in Oklahoma, but
This is kind of a funny story. I was working with a photographer a couple weekends ago. Great guy, but he said that he did the engagement pictures with a couple like a year and a half beforehand, and all he had done, is email communication. And so he shows up on the wedding day and he walks up to this guy and he starts talking to him, about what's going to happen and stuff. And the groom has a twin brother. And so he was, that mistake probably could have been made with anybody, right? But the brother just kind of looks up and he just kind of points across the room. He's like, he's over there.
And I'll say too, when we walk into a room, on the day of a wedding, we want it to be something where the pressure is relieved by us getting there. And so like when we do know our couple so well, by the time that day gets there, they're comfortable with us and they're excited to see us. Most of the time the bride is like, John, oh my gosh, you're here, everybody. This is John. He's our video guy and he's awesome. And she just like does this 10-second rant about how awesome we are. And that's how I usually start my wedding days. So that's obviously a good place to be.
Yeah, there was our wedding this weekend. We actually we had to deal with some photographers in town, and so we actually did an engagement video, kind of turned it into a save the date thing. And it was really interesting to me because this doesn't happen very often. I showed up at the hotel and I met the groom's sister. She was there getting ready, and she said, "Oh, hi, I'm so and so." She saw me in the elevator holding my camera. She goes, "Oh, are you here for the wedding?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, I'm so and so." And I said, "I'm Nick." And she goes, "Oh yeah, I know."
Mm-hmm.
Like
Nick is famous now. Honestly, since we started this podcast, just as a little side note, Nick's head's getting a little bigger. His beard's definitely getting bigger. And people keep just wanting to know more about Nick. And so I just want to caution you, my friend, just be careful because when you're that good looking and your beard is that full, people will know who you are no matter where you're at. So just as a side note, just sorry everyone listening, but I just needed to throw that out to Nick. So I could see his head getting bigger just as he was talking. So yep, there it is. So anyway, the last little bit of what I do before the wedding day, that final consultation, I was talking about it, but we moved on and I want to kind of make sure I tidy that up. In that final consultation, the bride and the groom, I want them there. There are times when the groom can't be there and I hate it. But I want to have FaceTime with the bride and the groom. And if mom wants to be there, if the wedding planner wants to be there, that's great. But what we're doing on that day is we are walking through the entire timeline through that questionnaire and walking through all of the details.
I believe it was our 4th episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast, whenever you talked with Phil Harbuck, he said that one of the things that he does is he actually, goes out with the couple, within a month and has this meeting, but he has dinner with them or drinks with them or whatever. And that's something that my wife and I are going to try this year, coming up, and kind of having this meeting face to face and just building relationship with them because your wedding day will only be better if you have a relationship and have a rapport. The more that you have that, the better it's going to be. And so I just wanted to put that plug for our own podcast in our podcast.
There he goes again, everybody. Nick is just really full of him.
I wasn't even on that one. It wasn't even me. That was all you.
All right, now back to what I was saying, Nick. Now, in that final consultation, the main things I want to do is I want to walk through the timeline so we know that we're both on the same page about different things. I'm letting the groom know that we're putting a microphone on him. I'm not asking. Yes. I'm letting him know. I'm letting them know, we're going to be recording audio during X, Y, and Z. At this point, we know if they're doing a first look or if they're doing letters or if she's doing a first look with her dad. We know all of these details and we're walking through them. And at that point, we're really just looking through and finalizing and all spit shaking and saying, this is the timeline. This is when we're going to be there. This is what we're going to do. I'm asking them who all's speaking during the ceremony. Will there be scripture readings? And all those questions are in the questionnaire that we send them, but we're walking through that again, just so they know how important audio is to me. We know who all their vendors are at this point. And so we're just getting everything tidied up so they're very comfortable with us. And so, I don't usually send a text like the day before or anything. The morning of, I will usually tag them in an Instagram story and send them a direct message on Instagram or something like that, just saying oh my goodness, it's the big day. We'll see you here in a bit. Do you need anything? I've had people need stuff. I've brought people coffee before on their wedding. I mean, I'm just there again to serve them. And so that's my basic, like my Cliff's notes from like when we book until the wedding day. Anything you want to add to that at all before the wedding day?
No. You seem to think that I have a big head and am making this all about me. So I don't think I'm going to talk anymore.
That's perfect for me. That's great. Right, yeah. The rest of this podcast will be John doing the interview alone.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything to add. Again, and this is something that's also evolving, as we do it more, constantly learning and trying to figure out what works best. I like to text and touch base with my clients but if it comes out in a few months or this year that doesn't really work, then I'll figure something else out that works.
Totally.
You want to go where your people are. And if people start using, email like exclusively again, then that's where I'll be. If they want phone calls, I don't think they will, but if they want phone calls, then that's how we'll communicate.
That's a really good point.
You just have to be open to what your people want, and you have to go where they are rather than have them come to you. They'll feel a lot more at ease if you meet them where they are rather than the other way around.
Because when it comes down to it, I mean, I'm not the one writing the check. They are, or their parents are, or they're swiping the card. But like, and that's what it comes down to is like, yes, I want to be their friend, and yes, I want to be close to them. I also want to maintain like a level of professionalism where they know that I am the best at what I do for them and that they're taken care of. Whatever that means, however that means, if that means I'm texting or tweeting or Snapchatting or whatever it is, however that is. But right now, the texting/email combo, meeting in person is what is working best for us.
Okay. So now we've kind of talked to you about pre-wedding, what we do leading up to the wedding day. And again, this whole conversation stems from, I'll just reiterate this, the posts of, hey, my bride is begging for my video. She's asking me all these questions and where is it and when's it going to be? And I think that the reason that so many people get emails like that is because after the wedding, even if they communicate very well beforehand, like after the wedding, the communication stops.
Crickets.
Because, right. And so, John and I just wanted to talk through what we do after the wedding to avoid that kind of stuff. So, John, what do you do after the wedding to communicate with your couples?
Sure. So we also, I need to throw it out there again, we do photography as well. And most of our weddings we're doing, I have Nina and she runs our photography side. I'm having her take photos. So a lot of times the night of the wedding, we're able to send them some sneak peek photos from the day, which immediately gets them really excited. We'll text them to them. We'll email them to them. We'll email or text, at this point we're close with mom. We're sending, like just a couple of messages when it comes to like how great of a time we had that day, or, like if we're doing it on the day after the wedding, but we're just immediately sending them something. I know that, like you do same day edits, so you're able to post those. A lot of times the wedding will happen and I will try my, if they are paying us for a same day edit, I'm getting that to them. If they're paying us for an Instagram teaser, I'm definitely getting it to them within the week. But I try on most every one of my films to have a 1 minute teaser like within a week of the wedding. And so on their honeymoon, I want them to be able to get a happy email or text from me saying, hey, just so you know, here's a video. So like I'm immediately sending them that. And, one of the things I didn't really note beforehand is that like I'm really trying to make a good relationship with the parents of the bride as well, because when it comes down to it, most of the time they're the ones paying for it. And I want them to feel, it's a big deal for them too. We forget that like, oh, it's a mom of a the mom's daughter's getting married or the dad's daughter's getting married. So we usually will have their information too, and we'll send them out just, a couple sneak peek photos or a sneak peek video, and just get the ball rolling and kind of say, just a reminder, this is kind of how it works. You should expect your photos at this time. You should expect your videos at this time. On the 1 week after the wedding, we do have an auto email that goes out that just says, happy 1 week anniversary. Congratulations on your first week. Hope your honeymoon was going great or went well. We'll be in touch as we get closer. If you have any questions, feel free to text us. Here's the number. yada yada. I mean, that's kind of the first week after for us. What about you?
Yeah. So, as John did point out, we do a same day edit at every wedding. And so, that really gets them excited. At the beginning, we show them their video at the reception, and then I come home that night and I spend 30 minutes or so, and I find a song, slap it on there really quick, edit it down, and make an Instagram edit, and then that's a vertical, and then I make a normal video size for Facebook. I upload the Instagram one that night. I usually wait till Sunday morning to upload the Facebook one. Most of the time, I'll actually text the bride the video so that she can post it on her account if she wants to. And then sometime during that week, I send them an email and I just label it "What happens next?" And so I just, hey, we had such a great time with you guys this weekend. Hope that your honeymoon's going well. Hope you had a good time, whatever. And I said, this is what's included in your package. So then I lay out everything that they will be getting. Their highlight video, their ceremony, their toast, their doc edits, the digital delivery, all of that stuff. And then I say, right now our editing time is 4 months. So you will have your highlight video by, and so I actually put in a 4-month date. So I'll say, 4 months. The wedding, that I shot this last weekend was on December 1st. So I said your video will be to you April 1st. No joke. And then it lets them know what to expect. And since I have started this email the week after, letting them know how long it's going to take, letting them know when it will be done by, I get 0 emails asking me when's my video going to be done, how's it going to have, any of that stuff. Another thing I would like to caution people on is don't put a range. Like if you write, my editing time is 3 to 6 months or 4 to 6 months or 2 to 3 months, whatever it may be, you as the editor will always take the later date. The client doesn't see the later date. All they see is the sooner date. So if you wrote 4 to 6 months, they're going to ask you about it 4 months to the day.
That's huge. That's
whenever
a good point.
In your mind, you still have 2 more months to edit it. They don't think that way.
Yeah.
So that's what I used to
I'm
do.
guilty of that.
Yeah. So that's what I used to do. And I was getting these emails 4 months to the day, 4 months to the day plus 1. Hey, where's my video? And I'm like, oh, actually I said 4 to 5 months, it still might be another month. And so then, I don't know, in my opinion, if a client asks you where their video is, you've already lost.
Right. And I'll throw it out there too. If you've told them a day that you're going to have it done, like if you said 3 months and 3 months is getting close and you're not going to get it done, they would rather just know. If you send them a text or a call, hey, just so you know, your wedding was in the middle of June. That's really busy for me. I know that I said 3 months, but I'm looking at it and I take as long as I need to on everyone's film. And it might be a little bit further than that. I'm going to throw in this little extra minute, or I'm going to do this for you just because, I just don't want to not, and you can frame it in such a way that it's like, I don't want someone else's film to suffer because I'm in a hurry. It's different with each wedding as we are creative, and just letting them know that instead of just ghosting them. That's the worst thing that you could do.
I will definitely say that people are way more forgiving if they're in the loop and they know what's going on. They might not necessarily like it that you say, oh, I'm sorry, it's going to take 2 more weeks or a month for me to finish this. But I really believe that they will be okay with it because you're being honest with them and you're letting them know what's going on. They might talk bad about you behind their back or whatever, but they're not going to say that to your face, and they might not give you, bad reviews or whatever. And especially if you throw something in like that, whatever you can think of, I think that'll help with that too.
And since I don't do a same day edit for every wedding, and since I don't guarantee an Instagram teaser, some people pay me $1,000 to have a teaser within a week of their wedding. And so, yeah, humble brag, but they will say, I want a teaser, and it's something that I will sell to them for $1,000, which moves them up in the queue on they're getting a wedding edit this week. And if I've filmed someone's wedding in October and November rolls around and they're seeing someone's, video, a 1-minute teaser within a week of their, they know that the bride just got married, but they haven't seen anything from their wedding, they get like a little frustrated. So if you do that, what I've done is before I post the video, I will send a text to everybody that is in my queue, just as a reminder. Hey, just so you know, I'm going to be done with your film roughly around this time. I'm about to post a teaser, just so you know they paid extra for that. It's been in my editing schedule. Your film hasn't changed its due date at all, but just as a courtesy, I wanted to throw it out there to you. And the people are like, oh, no big deal. I wouldn't even have thought of it, but they would have thought about it, and so they're checking, they're watching to see, if you are posting someone else's film before theirs, because they might think, well, my wedding wasn't as good or whatever. So just be careful on that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really good advice. So we really try to be open and transparent and just talk and let our clients know what's going on. And I have found in the past, even when I was taking a lot longer time, that people are way more open if I'm communicating with them. And then, like I mentioned in our Same Day Edit podcast, I think I'm buying myself some time or some freedom or some grace because I'm giving them this edit on their wedding day. Now we're still not taking our full amount of time that we're editing. Like right now in our contracts and what we do, we tell people 4 months, but most of this year we've been in the 1 to 2 month range getting people their stuff back. So then we're just, what is it? What's the phrase that is, under promise, over deliver,
Over promise, under deliver, but good try.
Are you sure?
No, you're right.
Okay.
Over promise and under deliver. That would be the worst business advice I've ever given.
Whatever the phrase is, but basically the idea is tell them it's going to take longer and then do it faster so that they're blown away. Like if you tell them 6 months and you give them to them at 4 months is still a long time, but they're going to be blown away because it took you 4 months instead of 6. Right. And there is no problem, especially for a lot of you listening that have another job, that don't do this full time. There is no problem in taking a long time as long as you communicate and as long as you are open with your couples. That's the thing that I really want to stress here is open communication so that they know where they're standing and where things are in the editing process.
Because if you're not careful and you don't communicate or you kind of push them on the back burner, they might write a bad review about you. It's just the opposite of what you want. And so, you want positive vibes going out about you, not, negative vibes. So, okay, I want to also jump in just because we're getting close here on time. Nick, I want to talk about like your process to communicating with them once you've started the edit. I mean, do you talk to them at all while you're editing? Do you let them know you've started? How does that work for Nick Miller?
Okay, so really how I used to do things kind of before you and I started talking a lot was I would just start editing and then I would send them an email, a random email. Hey, surprise, your wedding film's done. Which, they really like and stuff. But based on some conversations that you and I have had, I've started, as I'm editing, taking screenshots or filming taking a clip of a really sweet moment or whatever and texting that to the bride or texting that to the groom or whatever to kind of build anticipation. And then I can also say, here's another under promise, over deliver, whatever is I'm working on an edit on Monday and I know I'm going to finish on Monday. And I say, hey, I love how your video is coming together. It's going to be to you on Friday. So now their expectation is Friday. Oh, guess what? I'm done Monday. Here it is on Tuesday. So it's just another, you kind of plan it out how you're going to send it and that kind of stuff. But that's something that I think has really just blown our couples away even a little bit more is by letting them know, oh, it's going to take this long. Oh, it's even quicker than that. So I'm, started, texting them and screenshots, video clips, that kind of stuff and say, oh, I'm so excited. Or, sometimes I get teary-eyed editing a video, like it just hits me as the editor. And I'm like, hey, your video is making me emoji cry face. I can't wait for you to see it, just to get them really excited about it.
Totally. I would just like to throw it out there. I would not condone lying to your people and saying it's going to be done on a certain day necessarily, and then knowing it's going to be done. I don't think that's what you do, but I think that just making sure, like what on the heels of your point, Like if you think, oh, I'm going to be getting done today and saying it'll be to you for sure by the end of the week, and then dropping it. I think that's what you did, but I just didn't want any of the haters out there to think that you were just like this.
Yes. No,
liar.
I'm not like purposely lying. And, I put it in there, I say something like that because you never know what's going to happen too. Like I might be done with it. My wife does all her color. She might not be able to get to it, the day that I'm done with the edit. So, it's you will have it by the end of the week kind of thing.
Totally. And so the only things that I do that are a little different than yours, I'll walk through real quick what I do before we finish up here. Right now, like I started a new wedding film today. So last week, as I'm editing the wedding before this wedding, I send them a message and say, look through your footage. It's so pretty. I'm starting it soon. I'll update you soon, but you'll be getting your wedding soon. So it gets them excited. It also, kind of blurs the line of when I've started on it in case it only takes me a day or two, because I don't want them to feel like it only took you a day or 2 days to make this wedding film, because sometimes they come together really fast.
They do, yeah.
And so I just want to say, hey, your footage looks great. I've got one more ahead of yours, but I'm so excited about yours. So that's usually a week to 8-10 days somewhere before I start their wedding film. I check in on them. How's married life? And right now we're delivering a way faster than we ever have, just because we've taken a lot less weddings this year. But like right now, I'm about a month out to getting their film. So, it hasn't been too long, and they're like, in their contract, it's pushing towards like a 6-month window of time. The communication leading up is that it can take 6 months time. And so, I let them know, just so you know, I'm ahead of schedule. I'll be on your wedding film very soon. And so they're excited and freaking out. I try to do a group text with the groom and the bride at this point.
That's good.
Instead of just the bride, because I want the groom to be excited, because now he is one of the decision makers on potentially add-ons and edits that I'm going to be potentially selling. And so, they're not always using daddy's money anymore. At that point, they're making decisions as a married couple. And so I just want to be part of that communication with both of them. And so I'll send them a group text saying I'm starting. And then when I do start, I usually don't say I started right now or anything like that. But like this morning, as I got going, I sent a group message to the two of them and I said, hey, your footage is looking really great. I'm so excited about it. Do you mind if I send you a couple of screen grabs, or do you want to just wait until the wedding is done? And of course, the bride's like, oh my goodness, send anything you can send. And so like this morning, I took 3 screen grabs from the footage. I exported them out as JPEGs, Shift N on Premiere. I don't know. But anyway, you can export them out as JPEGs. I brought them into Lightroom, threw some presets on them. I know this is a little bit extra, but like I edited the photos just a little bit, and then I text the bride and groom a photo, waited 15 minutes, text them another one. It's usually footage of the two of them, like just the best looking stuff I can find. And, I sent a black and white one. I sent like a grainy one. I actually edited them and sent them photos that they could post if they wanted to. So they're like amped. And at the end of the text today, I said, this is all you get for today. We'll be in touch tomorrow. And the bride was like, dang it, send me more. And she was like really excited. And that's what I'm wanting to do is create this experience with them and build this anticipation with them. So like you said, I'm not just sending an email out of the blue saying your film is ready and wondering why they haven't responded in 3 days. I'm not only doing the relationship building, but like I'm building this anticipation where it's like, if there is something that makes me cry, I am going to tell them your first look with your dad blew me away, or I'm never going to lie to them or anything like that.
No, you shouldn't do that.
And some films don't get me, or I'm just like, wow, this footage is beautiful here. Or I will tell them something that is true, that is like a highlight for me, that is accurate, and just kind of throughout that editing process. So I'll take about a week to edit each film. So tomorrow I will send them 2 or 3 more screen grabs. Wednesday, do the same, like that kind of thing, where I'm just in their inbox once or twice a day, or their text messages, getting them excited to see this film. So that's what happens as I'm editing it. Anything else that you do?
No, I don't think so. I think that kind of wraps it up, and then I send them their email with the link to their MediaZilla digital download.
Gotcha. Yeah. The last thing that I do, is basically as I'm getting close, I'll say, hey, I'll have your wedding film ready for you tomorrow, or are you ready to see your wedding film? Like I'll send them that text. and wait for them to respond. Like if they don't respond to that for a day, I'm not sending their film until they respond to it. That's
cool. That's a good idea.
That way I'm waiting for them to, I'm like, are you ready to see? And I'll say like, I'll say something along those lines where it's like, are you ready to see your film, with an emoji, like a confetti or something? And usually like 10 seconds later, the bride's like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm so ready. And so I already have everything done at this point. I have a story written. I have the vendors tagged. I have everything done. It's uploaded to YouTube. Everything is ready. It's an unlisted video already. So I'll then say, check your inbox, and I will have an email ready to have clicked send to them as soon as they're ready, and I'll send it to them, and it has instructions about like how to watch their film, how to share their film. And so at that point, they're getting their film, and I'm then communicating the last bit of information about their film is, I'm not posting this until you've shared this with your friends and your family, because I want them to see it before all of our fans see it. And that does two things. It obviously gets them to share it, but it also gets them, I want their mom and dad to see it before some random person on YouTube sees it. So
yeah,
it's serving them as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. If you're one that just premieres something on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and you're not telling your couples, or you're making it live and then showing it to them, like, I think that is a disservice to them, because why should some random person in Illinois see the video, on YouTube before the couple, in Wichita, Kansas, where I live, sees the video. Like they should be the first people that send it. So yes, I also upload to YouTube, make it private, unlisted, so that no one else can find it, send it to them. But they can also share an unlisted link. So that's what I do. And I think that I definitely know that people appreciate that. And then after they've seen it, then they share it, then I share it, then it goes.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, usually in business, if you are serving the client well, it is going to benefit you. And I know that's obvious, but like, if I'm serving it, like, my heart isn't necessarily, I just want them to share my video. My heart is, I want them to see the video first. But
yes,
the things that really work in business are the ones that take really good care of the customer, and they take really good care of you. So I try to capitalize on those. So in that email that I send out, it basically has some bullet points. It says, sit down together to watch this, pop open a bottle of champagne. It'll say, like, I walk them through exactly how to enjoy their film, and then it's like, when you get done, send me a selfie review if you want, do these things, and I walk them through. And here's how you share the video online. On Facebook, copy and paste this link, and be sure to tag anyone that you want to see the film, because Facebook is this way. If you want to share it on Instagram, if you want, and like, I'm just walking them through how they can share everything, And so my goal my goal is for them to share the YouTube video on Facebook. That gets me, with our YouTube growth. I mean, that's really helped propel us getting tons of views on our YouTube channel. And we've talked about different things like that, but that's just kind of the beginning all the way up into getting them to watch the film and share the film. Any ending words for you, Nick, on this subject?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's kind of, what we do, the pretty similar, the delivery and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today on the How to Film Weddings podcast. As always, we're doing this to help, grow the community. If you can subscribe, share this with somebody that needs it. Be sure to, review us on iTunes. That really helps us. Take a few minutes and just review us. But, join in on the conversation. Tag us and post. Ask us questions. We're here to help you. Until next time, we'll see you.
See ya.